All right, to those tuning in, welcome to the first episode of our online guest artist series. My name is Grace, and I'm one of the Community Outreach Associates here at Shakespeare in Delaware Park. Today I'm here with Saul Elkin, the founder and artistic director of Buffalo's only outdoor Shakespeare theater company. Saul, as we are celebrating our 45th season this year, let's start by finding out how Shakespeare in Delaware Park started.
Okay, it began with my association and friendship with Joe Papp, who was the founder of the New York Shakespeare Festival. He was my mentor when I did my PhD at Carnegie Mellon. And I had just become chairman of the theater department at UB, and he called to say that there was a play he was interested in seeing, and would I produce it in Buffalo? And he would pay for it. Well, that was always the operative phrase. And the play was called Apple Pie. I produced it. Joe came to Buffalo and saw it. We had a conversation, and he said, who was doing Shakespeare in Buffalo? And I said, well, the colleges are doing it, but nobody's doing it professionally. So he said, start something. So I did. He suggested that I call the mayor. Before I called the mayor, I went for a walk in Delaware Park, and I found the hill. I mean, I knew it was there, but I realized it was a location. And so I called City Hall expecting to make an appointment to see the mayor, and the secretary put me right through to him. His name was Stanley Mikowski, and he said he liked the idea, wanted me to come in the following week. So I made a date. In the interim, I went to see the dean at UB. In those years, when there was the summer session was entirely in the hands of each department chair. Each chair was given a budget to hire instructors for the summer session. So I asked the dean if I could use that money to hire some actors for a summer theater project, and he thought that was a good idea. So I went to see the mayor, and the mayor liked the idea and said that the city could not help us financially, but they could help us in every other way. We could use the space, they would provide storage and trucking, and I very boldly said, can I have that in writing? So he did send me a memo. So with the money given to me, I normally would have used to hire instructors. I had an open audition. I hired a number of actors, and my notion was that I would use a combination of professional actors and students in a sort of apprentice and a mentoring relationship. And that has been the way things have gone for all 45 years. We are still bringing students to the stage. Everybody is being paid now, but in the earliest years, it was a relationship between paid professional actors and students who were there to learn their craft by association. The only condition that the dean gave me was that I had to list Shakespeare in the Park as a summer course. And I did in those early years. The summer theater catalog listed Shakespeare in the Park as courses that students could take, and many did. So students who were involved in the early years of Shakespeare in the Park got academic credit for what they did, as well as acting opposite professionals. And that's the way we started. We started with one play in 1975. I thought I probably shouldn't do a play that audiences knew, so I chose The Winter's Tale, which was a play I loved, and the lead was played by the late Jerry Finnick, who just passed away recently, who for years taught Shakespeare in the department. We had a tremendous outpouring of audience, and that led me to go on to a second season, and here we are 45 years later.
Amazing. That's incredible. What a great story. And like you said, it seemed to really remain true to what you established it for, which is Shakespeare, but also that combination of education as well, having the students involved.
Absolutely. It's still a situation where many of the roles, some of them not so minor, are played by students. And possibly all of the principal roles are played by professionals.
It's incredible.
And professionals from elsewhere as well. Our auditions every year bring in people from everywhere. From Buffalo, from New York City, from everywhere.
It's the second oldest outdoor Shakespeare company in the country.
It is. It is.
How could you not watch?
Second only to Shakespeare in Central Park in New York.
That's amazing.
We're up there.
Exactly, right. Yeah, and it's free, which is wonderful too. It's such a great opportunity during the summer months for families to get out. And you can see that through the thousands of people that come to the Hill every year.
And you know, that's what led me to go on after the first year. The response to one play was so surprising and warm that it led me into a second season and third and so on. The interesting thing, of course, was that the department at UB produced the festival for the first maybe 12 years, at which point the university decided it could no longer afford to support the festival. And at that point, I had a public press conference to which the New York Times came, the Toronto newspapers came, and I announced that Shakespeare in the Park was going to continue on its own. The next day, I got a call from the CEO of the Marine Midland Bank asking me how much we needed, which took me by surprise. And I said, "Can I get back to you?" And I did the next day, and I gave him a figure, and he said to me that he would get back to me in a few days. And he told me we had the money, and we had it for 3 years. So for those 3 years, we organized the board of directors, we began fundraising, and we pretty much began a pattern that we follow to this day.
That's incredible.
It's an incredible story.
It is, it really is. And then, like you said, to have that outpouring of support from the community is amazing, especially for something like Shakespeare, because some call it a refined taste, but it's not your modern English. So what is it about it, do you think, that makes it so appealing to audiences to come back again and again every year?
Well, I think part of it is that, Shakespeare is part of everybody's high school experience. And it's not always a positive experience for high school students. And I wanted it to be. And one of the things I've said to actors from the beginning is that I wanted not a British version of Shakespeare in the Park, but an American version. It's sometimes referred to as mid-Atlantic, the sort of sound that you get from, the person who does the NBC News or the CBS News. It's a good, clear, robust American sound, which is what I think has attracted audiences. We don't see what London audiences see, we see what New York audiences see. And the language is there, the poetry is there, but the accent is American.
Absolutely. That's great. Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing today. It's so great for our audience members to hear a little background on this 45 years ago. Thank you so much, Saul, for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Grace. Are you going to be around this summer?
I will be. I will be on the Hill with you this summer, so I look forward to it.
Terrific. I'm looking forward to it.
Wonderful. Take care, Saul, and thank you for joining, folks.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.